So when Triumph launched the Street 77765 this year, it raised the question of the relevance of the Speed Triple, the 1050cc version of this bike that you can see in the foreground. There's more performance in this new bike, there's more of everything in this new bike. So although this one only has 20 horsepower more, and this one is only £2,000 cheaper, I don't quite think the choice between the two is as black and as white as it seems. We spent the last couple of weeks living with both the Speed Triple R and the 765 RS. This time we're going to do things a little bit different. So I'm here with Dave Schofield, who owns the 675 version of this.
That's correct, yeah.
So we've got somebody who lives with one of these bikes every day, has done for years and years. I know sometimes in the comments on YouTube people think that we just ride these bikes for 10 minutes and ride around the block. Dave's here to qualify the fact that he lives with these bikes day in, day out. We'll also spend some time downstairs here at Carl Rosner Triumph chatting to the service guys. We can find out what the running cost might look like over the average 3-year period. So we'll look at servicing costs, we'll look at the average crash repair cost, we'll look at the fuel economy, the boring, worthy stuff that you guys ask us to do, but sometimes we end up getting a bit too carried away, wearing swanky clothes, riding in sunny countries and doing skids. There's also an interesting point that I'll make at the end about this kind of pandemic bike theft situation that we've got in London. I live in London, I've been living with these two. It's not very much fun. We'll talk about that bit out the end. So I know that when we arrived here this morning, Dave tipped up on the 765 RS, and as he was taking his helmet off, I think it was clear that there are fairly stark differences between 675 and 765. The biggest one being for you, the ride-by-wire throttle.
Yeah, it was good fun because I mean, like on the 675, it's obviously a cable-operated throttle, and in my opinion, it's crisper and there's more response to it. That, you know, cumbersome winter gloves this sort of time of year, it's a bit wet outside, so you want to be in control of it all the time. Whereas I found it's like, are you going to go? Are you not?
You also mentioned that you were having a little bit of a play around with the rider modes.
Yeah, playing around with the rider modes just on the way here. I feel like there's too much going on the left-hand switchgear, whereas like you've got the indicators, you've got the mapping settings, and more often than not, I found myself hitting the mapping settings, and I just want to turn left. Mm-hmm. Coming from a background like myself, where I've not been into any of this electric whiz-bangery, you know, it's alien to me. It's really alien.
But for me, having ridden on the press launch in the wet and the very wet in Spain, on track and off track, we were lucky enough to ride around Catalonia. I know that what they've added to this bike in terms of that software and those rider modes that are available, coupled with the Olin suspension that this bike has got, those Brembo M50 calipers that this bike has got, it's got everything. It's got everything that you need for the best and most kind of track-focused super sport performance ride that you can possibly look for. So I think given a little bit of time, you would probably change your tune a little bit and say, actually, I got used to those rider modes.
Yeah, I think so. I love the brakes on it. The brakes are fantastic.
In the time that I spent with both of these, when it came to the crunch and I had to choose which one of the bikes I would go for, I thought it would be this one at the outset. Speed Triple's been around forever. I absolutely love them. But when they updated it and went for the version that you can see now, in my mind, I think they refined it a little bit too much. They took out a little bit too much of that hooligan.
Took out the lunacy.
Yeah, but what they added, I've found over the last 1,500 miles, is this kind of really plush, grown-up way of going too fast. They both go too fast. It's really easy to speed on them. But I just prefer the way that this went about its business. You don't have to chase the throttle like I know you do on that. The gearbox on it is, despite the fact that it doesn't have the quick shifter that the RS that you're riding has, for me it just did everything that I wanted a bike to do for me. Plus it feels a little bit more substantial. Brembo brakes at the front of both. This has got Showa BPF. This has got Öhlins at the front. This has got a sweet TTX shock in the back, but this has also got Öhlins stuff in it as well. That plushness that I was talking about, it might be something to do with my age. I'm 10 years older than Dave. I just found again that this was easier and more comfortable way of getting around town, getting around out of town, fast or slow. The extra power and torque that this bike has got more than takes care of the extra weight that it's got. I think there's an extra 25 kilos in this bike, but it also has 20 horsepower that this bike doesn't. So I guess the key question, and Triumph may not like us talking about it like this, you paid £3,000?
£3,000.
For a 675 Street Triple.
Yeah.
That bike's £10,000, £10,100.
Yeah.
There's £7,000 in difference there.
It's a big price to justify that.
Yeah, £7,000. It's a huge, huge chunk of cash.
Big chunk of money, yeah.
So this bike will do it as well. I'm not going to call the system on this bike rudimentary. It's not a basic traction control system. It just isn't quite as trick as this one. There isn't as much adjustability. It's quite a simple to use, yet very functional and helpful system that it's got. It has ABS, has traction, has anti-wheelie, has a lot of tech on it, but I think people might now be staring at this one thinking it's got everything and it's all singing and dancing, and looking at this one and just thinking it's the kind of fat old stager that's getting a bit old and getting a bit crusty around the edges. It's the opposite of that. It's got R written on it, it's got Öhlins all over it, it's got Brembo on it, it has rider modes, it makes 140 horsepower. Dave and I are going to go downstairs in a minute and speak to the service manager here at Carl Rosner. His name is Doug. He's going to tell us how much it costs to crash these things, how much it costs to service them, and the difference in price over the average 3-year ownership between this one and that one. What we're going to start talking about with Doug initially is the service cost. So we're looking at everything that you'll need up to 12,000 miles from brand spanking new. And it sounds like there isn't that much of a difference between the two.
No, that's right. There's not really much of a change. The annual service is the same. The 6K is a little bit more expensive, an extra sort of £50. And then the major service at 12, again about a £50 difference, basically because of the single-sided swing arm being the extra time taken. But otherwise, servicing-wise, yeah, very similar.
It sounds like to 12,000 miles on a street triple, you're going to spend 920 quid in total, up to 12,000 miles on servicing, and on the speed triple, it's marginally more at £1,010. So if it's a competition, the street triple wins by 90 quid. The other thing that people don't like to talk about is when you knock these bikes over in the garage. We've totted up the repair and replace costs for bar end weight.
Yeah, so you've got the mirror, bar end, brake lever, brake pedal, indicator, and I've taken an engine cover, the alternator cover as well from each bike.
Okay, cool.
All those parts together, there's really just a couple of pounds in it between the two bikes. Especially this is from the Street RS to the Speed R.
Yep.
The components, Brembo components and so on, it's all very much the same.
Speed triple, you're looking at £255, and the street triple, it's 253.
Yeah, 253, yeah.
So you're going to save £2 dropping your street triple over dropping your speed triple in the garage. We've looked at the average MPG on the speed and the same on the street. This is the biggest difference. Again, it's not all that big, but 12,000 miles on a speed triple will cost you £1,704. The same 12,000 miles on the street triple will cost you £1,392. So what you're getting is about 45.5 to the gallon on the street and 37 to the gallon on the speed. So all in, you're going to save 404 quid running the street triple for the first 12,000 miles compared to the speed triple. So that theft thing that I was talking about at the start of this piece, these are pretty much the lowest hanging fruit in terms of how easy they are to steal and how much they're worth. There was an incident in particular where I was taking my 13-year-old daughter to the gym on this one, pulled up at a set of lights in southeast London. Big dude on a scooter pulled up too close on this side, no helmet, wearing a balaclava, kind of spidey senses start going, and then another scooter rider pulled up on this side. I jumped the red light with my daughter on the back, all got a bit dangerous, had to ride off. That was the end of that. They didn't see where I was going. It's not like the movies where they can keep up. This is a really fast bike, even with a 13-year-old on. We just chipped off and buggered off. Now, if you were to offer me the choice of a free Speed Triple R, a bike that I absolutely love, or a 1,500 quid shitter, I would probably take the cheap bike just for fear of losing something as precious as this would be to me. If I was using my own money, there is absolutely no way at the minute for the next year or two I would bother putting my money into a bike and living in central London. Certainly not a bike that I couldn't afford to lose. Dave?
Yeah?
Pick a winner. Which one would you go for?
It's always been a stipulation with people my age. If you can get a bigger litre bike, then go for it. Personally, having run litre bikes for a couple of years now, I don't think you need it on the road. I can have just as much fun pulling third, fourth gear stand-up wheelies on this as I could just cracking the throttle and behaving like a dick on that.
So you're going for the street triple?
My money's on that.
Which of the two would I go for? Again, it's got to be the speed triple. This bike has everything that that bike has, and what it doesn't have, you can buy off the shelf and accessorise, and your warranty will still be friendly and all of that stuff. You can't make that bike 300cc bigger. You can't add the extra weight that I prefer to feel to this bike without making it shit. This is the perfect big bike for me. It's the perfect Triumph and it's the perfect speed triple. If you're ready to drop 10 grand or 12 grand and you're looking for the perfect naked bike and you're bold and you've got thousands of children and you're a tiny bit overweight like I am, I'm going to say that the speed triple will do more for you than the street triple. Yes, it's heavier. Yes, it's more expensive, but it does make more power. I found it easier to go faster on this than I did on this, ridiculously. But also just that kind of everyday feel that the speed triple had made me smile more of the time than the street triple.